What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, Baton Rouge Clinic, and Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Drew's awake. You want to come see Daddy? Come give me a hug. I have to tell you something. Come see, I have to tell you something. Hey, Drew. Blue Jean Baby. LA lady. Can lure him in. I'll get him on here before the show's over. Oops, you know what I need to do? I need to do this. I keep forgetting to put YouTube on airplane mode. So that way incoming calls don't cancel the stream there. All right, let's see what y'all got this morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Saints camp opens tomorrow. Here's hoping that they stay pretty healthy. Interestingly enough, Xavier Howard was there for the start of Dolphins camp. However, he is requesting a trade. Says does not feel appreciated in Miami. That could certainly be interesting. Saints can't be done. They can't be done adding to their roster. They have to add. I know they added Chris Hogan. I can't believe that's the answer. Still waiting to hear about Marshawn Lattimore. Are they moving forward? Brian Poole and Paulson Adebo. I find that hard to believe. They absolutely must add an interior defensive lineman. Perhaps it's one of those things where, they're going to add a veteran, but for example, I've mentioned Quan Short on the defensive line. Quan Short's 32, 33 years old. He's been around the league. They know who he is, what he can do. He don't need to go through camp. And you certainly don't need to risk him getting injured at camp or in preseason games. So sign him later in the process and roll. Is Quan Alexander going to be added? All these things still have to be determined, but they've got money to spend, and they need to spend it because they've definitely got some holes on that roster they got to fill. So how they do so will be very interesting. Olympics basketball team bounced back. I'm happy to see that. Team USA with a 50-some-odd point win over Iran, which is great. I know everybody's talking about Simone Biles. Yesterday during Morning Scone is when we found out that she withdrew. We thought it was a medical thing. Turned out it was a mental thing. Created a lot of conversation around that. So Katie Ledecky won a gold medal, 1,500 meter free, 1,500 meters. Ooh. That's like just under a mile. It's crazy. Anyway, all right, let's say some good morning. See what y'all got. Of course, conference realignment is still all the rage. Texas OU formally requesting admission into the SEC, and Greg Sankey, Bob Bowlesby, all releasing it's statement season. Everybody's releasing statements right now. All right, Gregory Brooks, good morning. Reagan Lee, good morning. Andrew Cedar, Kirk Taylor, good morning. Let's see. Reagan from Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. Lowell Cormier, good morning. Hope all is well. Same with you, Lowell. Hope you're doing well, man. Matthew Newman, morning, Matt. Hope all is well. Stay safe and healthy, my man. And hello to Drew. Thank you, Matthew. Same to you and yours. Jerry DeLucky, good morning. Daniel Sonnets, good morning. Brady Boland, good morning. Kirk, waiting on Alexander to be signed. Yeah, Kirk, I'm curious to see, man. I would have thought they would have done that. When they brought Quan in for a workout, I guess, and the fact that he doesn't have any other offers or has made any other visits maybe tells you that the interest there isn't really grand from around the league. And hi, Drew. And that maybe, hey, come see. Hold my hand. Well, there's here. Thank you. Come see. I'll show you something. Let's see how did that show. You haven't said I did that show in so long. You know the only reason they watch is to see you. Who is it? Who is it? Drew. Drew. Hey, how old is Drew?
Yeah.
How old are you?
7. Yeah.
7.
Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. Yay. Good job. Hey, you want to tell everybody where you're going to go today?
No,
To the New St. Lillian. Drew has his assessment today at the New St. Lillian. Yep, Miss April.
My God.
Miss Claudette.
God.
Skylar. Miss
Yeah.
Diane. Very good. Yep, Mimi's going to come get you and take you. Yep.
Mom?
That's right. Very good. All right.
Hey.
Huh? Sleepy Bones, Lazy Bones, Sleepyhead finally woke up early enough to be on Dad's show. He's been sleeping late every day. Been enjoying his sleep this summer. All right, we'll see you later. All right. We will have Nightcap with Scone tonight, by the way, y'all. Certainly looking forward to that. Tim Gotro, Trivia Carter, Stephen Miller, good morning. Mark Allen, is the Saints one bad season away from total rebuild? I don't know that I would go that far, Mark, because, you know, if you're going to tear it down and do a full rebuild, I don't think you would have invested the money in Mike Thomas and Ryan Ramczyk and Alvin Kamara and what you're going to spend, you know, this offseason on Marcus Williams. And, you know, I will say this, though. You're going to have some really interesting decisions to make this offseason, namely Teron Armstead, who is approaching 30 and is a dominant left tackle when he's healthy. The problem is he hasn't stayed healthy. So what do you do with Teron Armstead? You know, you're going to have to make a decision, obviously, on Marshawn Lattimore as well. So you could see some of the really talented players on this roster be moved or allowed to walk in free agency. Because as we say, you can't pay everyone. You just can't. So you can't give everybody a max contract for that position. So I know max contract isn't the term, it's an NBA term. I don't mean it in the literal sense, but you can't pay everyone like the number one player at their position in the league. You just can't. Salary cap won't allow it. Spurge, good morning. With the move to 12-team playoff and Texas and OU additions, how many SEC teams end up in the playoff? Well, Spurge, keep in mind, this round of realignment may pause playoff expansion. There was some scuttlebutt about that yesterday at Pac-12 Media Days, and that would not surprise me at all if we see that play out. Because if you're the other leagues and you understand that you're amidst a time of tumult in college football with realignment and this next wave of shifts are coming, why would you agree to a long-term playoff expansion model when you don't know how your regular season is going to be structured? So I don't think we're going to see. I think we will see playoff expansion halted until we see where all the dust settles with this new round of realignment. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Brady Smith, Father John David Mathern, good morning. Great seeing Drew first thing this morning. I love it. I love all the shout outs for Drew. Finally got him in here. Trivia, Matt, can we check on Kirk? He was highly sensitive yesterday. Want to make sure the Army is okay. Trivia, I think he's back. I'm sure he's fine. It's nothing personal. You know that here. It's nothing personal. Kyle Milliken, we're just one Aaron Rodgers away from a Super Bowl. But then again, Aaron Rodgers has only been to one Super Bowl. I'm just fascinated to see what Jameis can do with this team. I would love, obviously, if Mike Thomas was healthy and Onyemata was there. I would love it if they were whole, which they're not going to be for the first part of the season. We did see a big point spread shift yesterday, however, with Aaron Rodgers showing up to Packers camp. It went from Saints minus 2.5 or 3 to Packers minus 3. I mean, it's a full 5-6 point shift, which is massive in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. Cliff, you know I'm a Saints fan, but if Jameis doesn't work out, what free agent quarterback would you one not named Rodgers. Yeah, I don't think that's the route they go, Cliff, because the reality is that if you are a talented quarterback, you don't hit free agency, right? I mean, in this era of the NFL, I think your options are: would Seattle realistically trade Russ, or you take a quarterback in the draft? I mean, that's really your options, or you play, you know, you play next season with whoever, basically tank the year, end up with a top 5 pick, and take whoever's the best quarterback in the draft that year. Tim Gotro, got to tell you, Matt, whenever my cat Fergus hears Drew's voice, he comes running to my iPad to watch. As soon as Drew leaves, so does Fergus. That's pretty interesting, Tim. I wonder what's up with that. That's interesting. It's curious. I don't have cats. I've never had cats, so I don't know the psychology or mentality there, what would be attractive about that, but it is interesting. Let's see. Army is always okay. That's their problem. They're just always okay, never outstanding like Marines. The Marine Army feud on this show between all of you, or among all of you, is crazy. I just laugh at it. I'm not choosing a side. You could all just kick my ass, so I'm not picking a side. Kyle, what would you say to someone who is reluctant to root for Jameis because of his past antics and character issues? So, Kyle, I've talked about that a ton, man. You know, and my feeling on that has been, like, it's just a fundamental truth that most men, when you are 19, 20, 21, have the world in your hand, and you're immature and you act out and you feel entitled, as Jameis was and did, when you get married and have a child, that just fundamentally changes a lot of men. It might be you. You might know people like that who, once they had a kid, life changes. It's no longer about you. It's about your child. And I think Jameis, his actions have shown his maturity. You're taking a lesser contract with New Orleans to learn under Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Said before last season he was going to Harvard for football, basically. The Harvard football school, however he phrased it. He's getting a Harvard education in football, is kind of what he said. Was a good teammate last year. Kept his mouth shut. Even whenever Brees got hurt and they played Taysom, he didn't act out. He didn't speak up. He didn't pout. Good teammate, man. Went and had LASIK. Went vegan, lost 30 pounds, got in the best shape of his life. I mean, there's actions, right, behind just the words to show, oh, he's serious. Now, I don't know if he's going to be good, but can he be? Same at 26 years old, athletically gifted enough to be a Heisman Trophy winner, a number 1 pick in the draft, throw for 5,000 yards. Oh yeah, athletically he's got it. Can he learn the position and be a great leader and like? I think he's on his way. I do. I am optimistic, not just hopeful. I am optimistic about Jameis Winston this year. Jerry DeLucky, Daniel Sinnetts, Brady Boland, Kirk Taylor, Fred Flintstone. Matt, I think LSU will cancel the football season if COVID-19 gets back up like it did last year. Fred, that's not going to happen. Fred Flintstone. If you're going to be Fred Flintstone, you can at least spell it correctly. Oh, maybe someone else already had Fred Flintstone. Scott Fields, good morning. Dale Broussard, Bitcoin Bull Run 2.0 commencing. Get on the train, Dale. Boop, boop. Yes, sir. I was pumped, man. They've been calling for it. Mid-late July, they've been calling for the second leg of the bull run, and we are pumping. I'm excited about it. Let's get to 100K. Let's take some profits and then reinvest those profits when the correction comes. Let's do it. Let's do it. By the way, if you're watching there on YouTube, please smash the like button. Drew's looking out the window. Hey, Drew. Drew. Can you say hi? You blow him a kiss? Okay. You kind of got one a little bit. That was for Facebook. Sorry, YouTube. I can only move one device at a time. And it's just easier to move that. So please smash that like button. And if you're here on Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. Jonathan Barr, good morning. Lawrence Burley, Dawn Jolibois, Kelly Gross, good morning. Kurt, wonder if I can get Matt to get mad at me again this morning. Kurt, you misunderstand, Kurt. I wasn't mad at you. I'm just giving you some tough love because you're wrapped in emotion. You're being emotional about something that you can't let emotion govern decisions like this, Kirk. It's going to be okay, man. It's going to be okay. Let's see. Do you think Texas and Oklahoma would pay the $75 million to get out of the Big 12 earlier than 2025? Jerry, I think they would, but in delaying their exit to 2025, I think what they're telling you is they don't think the Big 12 is going to survive, which I don't think it will either. Let's see. Kyle DeVille, Brock Pendarvis, Travis Roy. Morning from family vacation, Branson, Missouri. All right, Travis Roy, y'all enjoy that vacation. Hey, George Walters, Brian Wynn, Reagan Lee. Curious, I'm just curious. I don't want the thought if O wins, all the problems disappear to be the idea going into the season. I feel like if this Title IX stuff is true, something needs to be done and maybe even a change. Yeah, Reagan, I mean, that's a very real possibility where if, here's the example, and I'll give you another example, but obviously the last time I did this, it pissed some people off. But look at what happened with Baylor. It was a very similar situation with Art Briles, where you had students alleging rape and sexual assault, and Art Briles was complicit in covering it up. Art Briles is the most successful on-field coach in the history of Baylor, and he, the athletic director, and the university president all got fired. So to your point, Reagan, there is precedent to say that no matter how good you are on the field, if things are bad enough off the field, that sometimes you move on. My feeling this year is Ed needs to win enough to put that off, right? Like, because if they're bad on the field, and I've told y'all, I think they're 9-3 this year, but if things don't go well, then that's just another giant brick on the wall building the case against it, if that makes sense. But again, every time I see him talk about this, I just get labeled a hater and whatever. Take it for what it's worth. I understand your point that there could be a point where no matter how much you win, it's not going to be enough to get over what is alleged to have happened. Charlie Cavell, Tommy Matthews, morning Matt. Simone Biles, selfish for not being there for a team, or savvy for pulling herself out because she felt she'd be a detriment to her team. So Tommy, I don't know if you heard, man, and listen, I understand. Here's the really tough thing about Olympic sports for us. We don't watch these sports all the time. We don't watch gymnastics but once every 4 years, right? I mean, realistically. And the only reason I have this experience is 'cause something similar, obviously not on that level, happened to a family member who was a high-level gymnast and had a situation arise where this person hit a mental block where they could their mind would no longer allow them to do the stunts that their body was very capable of doing and had done for years. And it is very sad and also very strange to watch. But it happened to Simone Biles. I mean, like, if she's supposed to do a 2.5, whatever, I mean, they have like stunts named after her. And she's on the vault and she only does a 1.5 and falls off the mat. I mean, it's like, I kind of get it. Like, it sucks. And if you're watching, oh man, she let her teammate down, she walked out. And I understand having that feeling. But I think it's similar to like when a baseball player gets the yips. And it's just like, there's just something in there where you're like, Why can't I do the thing I've done my whole life? Anyway, I just I understand why people who reacted negatively did. I just have a different feeling about it, man. I'm super bummed and disappointed for her. People were comparing to Carrie Strug. That was different because like Carrie had a physical injury where it was like she just had a stick of vault on one leg, which was incredible, right? This was just different. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Hope it does. Jerry, yeah, hey Jerry, Fred, the guy who's fake Fred Flintstone was just kidding. He's trolling. They're not canceling the season. If they played last year, they're playing this year. Henry Gordon Bennett, chance of the Saints making a trade with the Dolphins. Henry, I would love to see it. I think they just have to decide now, are you going to pay Marshawn Lattimore? Inevitably. Because you can't, like Xavier Howard's contract, Xavier Howard signed a 5-year, $75 million contract. Okay. So, and they do have a potential out after this season. So, I mean, could you be a 1-year mercenary in New Orleans where they restructure the deal, yada, yada? But the problem with that is, if you do that, you're not trading for Xavier Howard and giving up assets to get a legit number one corner only to have him walk after the season. You're going to sign him to a long-term deal. And that's what he wants in Miami. He wants a new deal. Well, are you going to give Xavier Howard $20 million a year and Lattimore $20 million a year? There's no way. It's the same conversation we're having with receiver. Like you've already paid Mike Thomas, you're not going to pay another receiver $20 million a season. So that's really the tricky part. Hang on one second. Drew's back next week. Hang on. So, to finish that thought, the Saints have to decide, are we hitching our wagon at cornerback to Lattimore? Because if you are, then you're not trading for Xavier Howard. But if you don't intend to give Lattimore a long-term contract, then I would trade for Xavier Howard at 28 years old and give him the extension he wants and hope you get 3 or 4 really good years out of Xavier Howard. Matt, do you think Texas and OU join the SEC before 2025? I think so, Brian, because I think the Big 12 is not going to last. That's just my opinion on it. Let's see. Brady Smith. I'm much more excited about the thought of Willie Green and the Pels than I was for Van Gundy. It seems as though they made the right decision this time. I hope so, Brady, but I've gone on record saying this, and I'll say it again. I thought Van Gundy last year was a good hire. It made sense. They had the sort of player, the loose players coach in Gentry, offensive minded. Hi, Drew. Hey, come here. I want to tell you something. Come here. I want to tell you something. I have to tell you something. Come here. I have to tell you something. Come here. I have to tell you something. Hey, Drew, come see. I have to tell you something.
Dad.
And after I tell you something, then we'll go get dressed. Come here. Drew, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Listen. Oh, 2 times on what it's going today. So listen. I'll tell you something. Blue Jean Bearer. No? Not in the mood? Okay. He was laughing so much at that last night. Okay. After Dad's show, we'll get dressed, and then Mimi will come see you. Okay. Getting too big and too cool for his daddy. Oh well. Let's see. Matt, you might not pick side. Y'all are crazy. Oh, man. Trivia. I watch gymnastics every year. Go Tigers. Shout out Coach Didi. Well, Coach Didi isn't the coach anymore. It's Coach J now. But understood. Kenneth McCown. Morning, Matt. When will the state allow sports gambling? You can actually do daily fantasy with DraftKings right now, which just came on our station. So shout out to DraftKings, which did a huge, good for them. There's a ton of money, the gambling money that's being spent. But DraftKings came to us at 104.5 ESPN, and they dumped a boatload of money into our station to promote the heck out of their product. And listen, y'all know I'm not the hugest daily fantasy guy. I get it. Everyone plays fantasy. I get it. I'm like the only person who doesn't. But I'll gladly, and have, I don't know if y'all have heard me do the ads yet, but I think Hester and T-Bob are doing them also. I will gladly promote the mess out of DraftKings because I am so pro sports betting, daily fantasy, let people make their own decisions. Of course, like the fact that we were actually impeding that progress for so long is laughable. And the fact that it's here now and you have a company that wants to be associated with our state and pour money into our state and all the different benefits that come from it, from tax purposes, it said, I am 100% on board with it. So I don't know if that answers your question, but if you're thinking about like a sports book, and that has passed, what I heard was it seemed like early 2022 is when sports books would probably be open and running in Louisiana. Marines eat crayons like T-Bob. Y'all are crazy. Brady, I hope he doesn't leave pregame speeches. That should be left to Mario Davis. You don't like him eating a W? Megan Hurst, Kelly Presley, good morning. Charlie Cavell. If you ever read the book about the Baylor scandal, it would anger you to the extreme, especially with anyone with a college-age daughter. Charlie, look, man, I know when I talk about it, I get emotional, I get fired up. And you and I see eye to eye on it clearly. There are some people who have not allowed themselves to explore anything beyond the impact on the football field. And I do understand that because that's why people come to my show and this because they want to hear about sports. And I totally get it. But there are times where people that you cheer for do things that make it impossible morally for me to cheer for them. And I think we have to have standards, and I'm not the moral police, and I understand people can make their own decisions, but there's a big difference when you're talking about arbitrary law and moral law, and there are some things that I'm not going to compromise on. So I'm not going to go off on another rant, but y'all know how I feel about it all, and in time we'll see it play out. Dylan Landry, good morning. Jared Honeycutt, does every team in the Big 12 have the same deal until 2025? Yes, so they collectively sign a media rights deal. The leagues do with their television partners. So that's the grant and rights. So every team, every school within the league signs over their grant of media rights to their conference. So the conference can then go take the whole package and sell it to their rights partners. And that's why it's more valuable collectively. And that's why the penalty is so high if you leave. They're just trying to deter people from leaving. So that's why Texas and OU are saying we'll stay through 2025 through this current deal. But again, I don't think the Big 12 will survive because what Texas and OU have done is they basically forced every other league to look at expansion possibilities. And you know what? I was listening to Jimmy on my way home yesterday, and he had I think he was talking to Matt Humans from VSiN. I think it was Matt. And he was lamenting and saying this was going to cause the end of college football and yada, yada. It's all greed. I'm like, hold on. You got it backwards. A century of greed and misappropriation has led to this. It's not the current state that's greedy. It's a century of a flawed system where a game that we all love has allowed fat cats that run bowl games to determine its postseason and affixed it to pollsters and whatever they vote to declare a champion. Like, that's the problem. the fact that we've actually had college football games where they expand the season to play body bag games and they convince you that, oh, we need the week off. Then give them the week off. Don't play the game against Centenary or Samford or McNeese because nobody wants to see that trash. Nobody wants, who wants to see 40-point spreads? It's awful. But we've all just been conditioned to think, well, that's the way it is. It don't have to be that way. Go look at LSU schedules from the 70s. Let's do this. 1977 LSU football. Actually, you know what? Let's do 79 because that was the year where they played Southern Cal. Okay. 1979 LSU football opened up at Colorado. Then they played Rice in Baton Rouge. Number 1 Southern Cal, and then played through an SEC schedule that included Florida at Georgia, Kentucky, Florida State in the non-conference, Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State at number 18 Tulane. So when Tulane was actually respectable and beat LSU that year, and then they played Wake Forest in the Tangerine Bowl. So your non-conference schedule was at Colorado, Rice, Florida State, and at number 18 Tulane. You know what you get now? UCLA and a bunch of trash is what you get. They have y'all fooled, bro. They have y'all fooled to think, oh, it's all the greedy people. No. It's been a century of college football that has allowed this structure to be built the way it has, where college football has gotten richer and richer and richer. The players were taken advantage of more and more and more, and you may not like that. So, well, they get a free education. They do. Hi, Drew. And when that was all football was paying for, that was something. But when you're doing billion-dollar TV deals, how can you possibly expect your free labor to sit around and go, when am I going to get mine? If NIL had happened 100 years ago, we wouldn't be in this situation. But we're going to be better for it because what's going to happen is we're going to have schedules that look like that. We're going to have LSU against your SEC games, then you're going to have Colorado and Florida State. That's what your whole schedule is going to be. And it's going to be way more fun than waiting for that second to last playing date when you get a whole bunch of FCS schools playing Power 5 games with 50-point spreads. Kick rocks. Hi, Drew. What are you doing? All right, we'll see you later. Adrian Jean. Good morning from Seagrove Beach. Jerry DeLucky. If the Saints don't sign Lattimore to a long-term deal, who's going to cover Mike Evans? Whoever they would give that long-term deal to. Hey, Dylan Landry. Good morning, Jared. Huddycut does every team. Oh, read that one. What else we got? Anywhere, what will happen to the Longhorn Network? So I'll be really interested. The Longhorn Network obviously never became profitable. I would not be opposed to... The problem is they never got distribution. My suggestion is I would take the Longhorn Network and I would put it on the SEC Network alternate channel because everywhere that has SEC Network also has the alternate channel. So SEC Network alternate, which basically just runs a graphic all day, that channel has more distribution than the Longhorn Network, and they're just running a graphic. So that's what I would do. That's just me. Cliff, if the fallout from the investigation is the hammer coming down on LSU, so be it. Take what's coming to you. Make sure it never happens again. Build the program back up the right way. Amen. Eric Wildrider. Morning, Matt. Sorry if I missed. I know a lot of SEC talk has been football scheduling changes, etc. How does that impact baseball and basketball scheduling? Good question. You'd certainly have to look at how you structure basketball and baseball. I can't imagine you're going to play more than 30 league games in baseball. And basketball certainly could expand its schedule. It recently did. I'd worry less about that. And maybe instead of playing teams twice, you play teams once. You can make it work in basketball. And baseball for that matter. Because you play enough. You play enough games in series. Hi! He is wrapping himself up in the curtain. He's like, whoops. Sorry. I'm sorry. He was trying to show you. He was wrapping himself up in the window treatment, the curtains. He was like wrapping himself. Hey, bud. All right, we're almost done here. Let's see. But I will say this. I don't know. A lot of people have asked about like March Madness, and I think March Madness would stay under NCAA control. That's $1 billion property. They do a marvelous job running the tournament. I don't know why you would change that. Same with College World Series. That makes sense to keep status quo in allowing the NCAA to run those events. That's why the NCAA was created. People think the NCAA is like an enforcement body. It's not. The NCAA was created to organize championships. And they do a really good job in pretty much all sports, like the track and field championships, the Division II lacrosse championships. They do a good job of organizing these events. What they don't do well, because they don't have the resources to do it well, is police all of intercollegiate athletics. But that's what they've been. They've become a legislative arm as well as college athletics has continued to grow, and they've continued to falter because it's impossible to be able to do that at that scale with so many programs and so many athletes. With the whole thing, it was 400,000 student athletes, and most of us would be going pro in something other than sports. They can't do it. It's too vast. But run championships, they can do that. Thomas Willie, good morning. Or Troy. Swampy TV. The NFL is dead to me. Not me, man. I love the NFL. What about the money that those small schools get from the body bag games that fund their program? What happens to them? Don't care, Cliff. I don't care. My point all along has been, it is not LSU's job to fund the McNeese football program. What did McNeese football do before they were getting 7-figure payouts to play those games? It's not Michigan's job to fund Eastern Michigan's program. What did Eastern Michigan do for decades before they started getting 7-figure payouts to lose those games? What did you do? They did what literally every other business does. You exist and operate within your means. You raise money through fundraising, through if it's athletic department, through athletic donations, through ticket sales, whatever other fundraising means you have, you raise money and then you run your program within that budget. You don't pay a coach $1 million if you can't afford $1 million. You pay a coach what you can afford to pay a coach. You don't build a new palatial facility if you can't afford to build a new palatial facility. You have a facility that you can operate in based on your budget. It's what every human does. If you can't afford a $500,000 home, don't buy a $500,000 home. If you can't afford to pay a car note on a BMW every month, don't buy a BMW. It's not hard. It's not a hard concept. I mean, why is this so foreign for people? Cliff, I'm not mad at you, but I'm just that's what people ask me that all the time. What happens to those schools? I thought, I don't care. I don't know, and I don't care. That's not my problem. What did you do for 100 years before you started playing these games and get 7 figures? No. Hey, but stinker. Put him on camera and he ran away. He's lingering in here today, though. What are you doing? He's just hanging out here today. It's like he wants to see, but he doesn't want to be on. Hey, bud. We're almost done. We're going to go get dressed, and Mimi later is going to take you to the Saint. All right. Jared Honeycutt, is there a scenario in which no team in the Big 12 has to pay a penalty? Absolutely, Jared. If the Big 12 dissolves, if the league folds, yeah. I mean, if every team moves out of the Big 12, if every team leaves the Big 12, then there's no Big 12 left. What does that mean for the rights deal? I don't know. Probably just tear it up, move on. Good question, though. Okay, Drew's figuring out a game plan for Mimi. Getting ready for them hands. Trivia, I'm for the Mimi jokes, by the way. Mimi House of Pain. I'm for them. All right. Let me get out of here, y'all. Locked on LSU. Let's see, a couple things to remind you. By the way, smash the like button there on YouTube. Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. Locked on LSU, if you've not done so yet. Oh, also got to remind y'all. Locked on LSU, AFR, all that stuff. I've been having a lot of people in the last week ask. Here, I'm going to post in the comments. Y'all have heard me for a lot of months talk about mycleanliving.net. That's the NASA technology in the air purifiers. What we're starting to hear a lot of is schools, daycares, things like that. I don't care what you think about COVID. It's not what you think about the vaccine, whatever, all that stuff. The reality is, I think we're all trying to prevent going back to where we were a year ago, and this is a means to help. So, schools, daycares, restaurants, facilities, this is air purifier technology proven to kill the COVID virus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and flu and staph and strep and all these other pathogens as well. So, look, I posted the website, share this with people. The phone number at the top of the website, 413-2299, that is Jennifer. That is the local sales rep. And if you go directly through her, instead of just ordering through the website, they generally can do deals and specials and things like that. So pass that along if it's you or you know someone who's at a school, a daycare, restaurants, people impacted by COVID spikes and shutdowns, whatever. mycleanliving.net. I have the device in my home. You see me with the Fresh Air Mobile at work every day. Brought it with me to Hoover. Had it in my hotel room. Had it on the set with us there at Media Days. mycleanliving.net. So y'all, listen, I'll tell y'all bottom line is September the 4th, I'm supposed to be in LA watching LSU play UCLA in the Rose Bowl, and I want to be there. It's a little more than a month away, and I'm getting leery because California's brought back their mask mandate, and I'm really worried that by the time that comes, they're not going to let us travel, and I'm going to be super pissed if that happens. So I don't care what you think about the whole thing. I just want to have my life. I want to be able to do it. So let's take steps we can. All right. Okay, y'all. Let me get out of here. Y'all have an awesome day, and we'll see you. Peace.